Hi, welcome to this latest episode of the Moving to Naples channel. I'm James Headley, and in today's episode, we're going to discuss whether Naples and Southwest Florida more broadly are in the middle of a real estate bubble. If you like what you hear today and want to hear more, be among the first to know of new videos, please subscribe below. And definitely share this with colleagues, friends, family that might be interested in the Southwest Florida area and what it's like to live here. And a final note, a little bit of a plug, please stick around until the end of today's video when I'm going to share a few reasons why now might just be the best time for you to be thinking about buying in Naples. So without further ado, the big question is, are we experiencing a Naples and/or Marco Island real estate bubble? In an article published a few months ago in Florida Realtors magazine entitled "The Real Estate Market Isn't in a Bubble, It Just Isn't," the author looked at the broader national real estate market. And comparing and contrasting the market with the bubble of 2006 to 2008, the piece made a very strong case for why this isn't a national real estate bubble. As Lawrence Yun, the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors, succinctly observed, this is not a bubble. It is simply lack of supply. So needless to say, locally, there's been a lot of discussion of whether we are in a Naples real estate bubble. At least from February of 2021 through much of the summer, we saw a significant increase in home prices. Today, in the late October of 2021, inventory remains tight, and while it's not the case as it was through the spring, that virtually every home that went on the market was selling in a few days, if not a few hours, with multiple bidders and increasing price run-ups, demand is still far outpacing supply. So in that context, you can imagine that 2021 has been a great time to be representing sellers here, but difficult, yet far from impossible to represent buyers. Regarding buyers, I've been very careful and very upfront with my clients in discussing the recent price increases and trying to give them some perspective on the historic values of the homes they are considering. Of course, when you're talking about the end of year 2020 as historic, things get a little bit interesting, as you might imagine. Now, certainly my goal isn't to discourage a buyer, but rather to ensure that they have a full view of the market before making such a major purchase. Admittedly, in the early stages of this frenzy, I was counseling patients to prospective buyers, urging a wait-and-see approach unless the ideal opportunity were in front of them. But once it became clear that this was not a fleeting moment, but part of a longer-term trend or shift in the market environment, it became even more important to understand and really help buyer clients to understand their purchasing time horizons. I believe it's still worth it waiting for an eventual pullback in prices if a buyer isn't planning to use the new home as a permanent residence, or for lengthy second vacation home occupancy or immediate rental income for at least the next 12 months. I'm going to step back and see what happens. Sure, prices may continue to rise during that time, but it's likely that the buyer's existing home equity will rise as well, and so will other invested assets, so the relative purchasing power is unlikely to decrease noticeably. So in other words, while the Naples real estate market did see 20+% price increases almost overnight, we seem to have reached a new normal, and there are definitely homes out there today that are arguably priced reasonably close to the right price that are lasting well over a month on the market. And that was just unheard of in the spring and early summer. So all this said, any Naples real estate market correction is unlikely to be as significantly dramatic to the downside versus, say, the bubble of a decade and a half ago, because there are some major differences that argue against any real bubble that could be out there and ready to be popped. Number one, credit is tight. Liar loans, no money down purchases, and the other tools of speculation that were so rampant in the aughts just aren't present today. Buyers have funds, they're putting real money down on their homes, and they're demonstrating a capacity to pay. They are also buying for themselves versus treating the homes like a cryptocurrency day trader and speculating on a possible run-up in value that they can take advantage of. Inventory, number two, inventory is also tight, as I mentioned earlier. There are about 1/4 the number of homes on the market now as there were during the housing bubble. And again, it's basic supply and demand that's creating a floor on any pricing downturn. Just anecdotally, I have a lot more prospective buyers that I'm working with, and not many sellers to match with them. And number three, the shifting demographics. Whereas I've worked with a lot of out-of-town buyer clients these past few years, 2021 has revealed a fairly striking shift in who these buyers are. I still get queries from the Midwesterners and the Middle Atlantic up into New England, as I always have, but I'm also fielding more inquiries from the Western US, the Colorados, the Californias, and from the New York metropolitan area. And it doesn't take a lot to realize the impact that just New York City metro migration and capital could have on our local real estate market. So simply put, I don't pretend to have a crystal ball, but when someone asks me whether there's a Naples real estate bubble, I tell them I certainly wouldn't bet on it for the foreseeable future. With that macro context, let me return to the teaser from the beginning and talk about why now might be the best time for you to seriously consider buying a home here in Southwest Florida. Reason number one is increased buying power. The phenomenon of tight housing inventory and rising prices is far from specific to here. Many northern homeowners find themselves in the enviable position, and I hope you're in this position, of having seen the equity in your home increase by tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars since the beginning of 2021. And the stock market's had a good run this year as well, creating additional wealth. And perhaps you're one of those cryptocurrency traders who finds yourself in an enviable position there. Whether selling and making the move full-time from New York, Jersey, Chicago, or wherever to Naples, or perhaps dipping into a home equity line of credit to purchase a second home in Naples, the rise in available capital provides a great springboard for exploring our local market. Number two are the great selling conditions up north. Closely related to my first point, but the seller's market in northern markets may also allow for more favorable terms that help facilitate a Naples purchase versus just looking at the relative prices. What I have in mind here is the potential to structure a sale of your northern home with a closing date perhaps months in the future, or even with a contingency on your finding a suitable Naples home for sale for you to purchase. While still likely to be a deal killer for some prospective buyers of your home, such a contingency in a world where buyers are waiving inspections on 50-plus-year-old homes may not be that far outside the realm of possibility, as buyers may still be willing to line up just for the chance to buy your home if and when you identify the right Naples real estate for you. And finally, possible changes to the 1031 rules. For those of you that might be considering selling a beach, ski, or lake home or a business and doing a like-kind exchange, why not do so now ahead of any possible, though seemingly unlikely at the time of this recording, changes to the 1031 exchange rules? Well, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate you being here. Please comment, like and share below, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be happy to continue to provide you more insight into our local market here and what it's like to live in Naples and Marco Island. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.